What's good, y'all? Today we are watching how the internet fell out of love with The Weeknd. And this video is by Kayla Says. And let's get straight into it. I didn't know that we wasn't rocking with The Weeknd. This is news to me. But let's see what's going on.
Abel, you're amazing. You're a legend. You're the greatest musician
That boy
that's
stroking.
ever lived.
I don't even know if this should count as a movie because the story is pretty much non-existent and it's just a glorified music video spread out to waste an hour and 40 minutes of your life.
This shit, I've been seeing snippets of this, but I don't know nothing about this. I don't even know, I don't know nothing about this movie. I haven't even seen like a trailer. I just saw snippets on TikTok. And then people making fun of him for bad acting.
Shut up. I'm literally on tour. I'm being nice right now. This is me being nice.
I thought The Weeknd would never have something as bad as The Idol under his belt when it came to acting credits.
Shit.
How wrong I was.
So I think it's kind of interesting that in some ways The Weeknd's music is like the least interesting thing about him. I don't mean this in a bad way. I actually like his music quite a bit, but let's back up for a sec. If you're unfamiliar, Abel Tesfaye, who goes by the stage name The Weeknd, is a Canadian R&B and pop artist who has been releasing music for quite some time now. You have probably heard at least one of his songs on the radio. The man has endless hits in the modern-day music and streaming landscape, and it's easy to understand why. He's got a great voice and stage presence, and he's been able to evolve his sound over time.
I don't know about that stage presence. He really ain't doing nothing. And then the only clip I know of The Weeknd performing is him when he's standing there. He's like, that shit blew me, bro. Pause. No Diddy, bro. No Diddy. Bro, I was like, how did we get to this point? Like, at what level of delusion do we think that standing in like on a stage in front of however many thousands of people and hitting the would like hit? You know what I mean? At no point in time would that ever be the play. I hope to one day be big enough to where I can have enough delusion as these famous people nowadays, bro. The delusion that they have is so potent, so strong, bro, that they can literally will the world into what they want to make it. That's how much delusion they have in their head, bro. People start to believe that shit. I need that in my life. Pause. No Diddy. I need to have that level of... Man, let's get into the vid, bro.
So much so that it feels like his music has been a present part of the soundtrack of my own personal life since like high school.
Facts.
From edgier, moodier tracks on his 2015 album Beauty Behind the Madness to his electronic and pop synth inspired projects like Starboy in 2016 and After Hours in 2020. And this is why the internet fell in love with The Weeknd, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. He's a great musician. He's got a great body of work. He's very successful at what he does. But as successful as The Weeknd is, it's kind of clear that Abel has always wanted a little bit more.
Bro, this shit's throwing me. I hear what she's saying, but look at this play button, bro. There's somebody behind her dancing, bro.
I mean, he did get more of a narrative going for himself in early...
Wait.
I mean, he did get more successful as The Weeknd.
Maybe I paid too much attention, but look right here. Somebody's...
It's kind of clear that Abel...
That looks like it's a person dancing, ain't it?
A little bit more. I mean, he did get...
Bro, what's going on, bro? I be looking too deep into shit. My bad, y'all.
More of a narrative going for himself in early 2021 following the release of After Hours, an album known for its record-breaking single Blinding Lights, which remains one of the most streamed songs to ever exist. But despite its popularity and the album's overall positive reception, After Hours was not nominated for any Grammy Awards in the year that it became eligible. Abel called out the Grammys for this, accusing them of unfair treatment and secret backdoor committees. There were even rumors that they tried to make him choose between performing at the award show or performing at the Super Bowl that year, and that's ultimately what led to the snub. And no matter what actually went down, by all accounts, Abel was right. After Hours should have been nominated that year, and it's crazy that it wasn't, and most people agreed. And he stood 10 toes down on that move by refusing to submit his music for future Grammy consideration. This year, the beef seems to have been squashed between The Weeknd and the Recording Academy because he actually ended up coming out and doing a surprise performance. But anyway, if we're speaking strictly about Abel's music career, he's always been the victor. He's always been well liked. He's done tons of collabs across the rap and pop music sphere. And he's always been vindicated and come out on top. But unfortunately for all of us, Abel doesn't just make music. Abel has always been a film enthusiast. He made a cameo in one of my favorite films, Uncut Gems. He's voice acted here and there, and he even co-wrote and starred in one of the funniest episodes of American Dad. I'm a virgin. It makes sense why he would want to go in this direction. Plenty of big stars have made the transition from music to acting and vice versa. But The Weeknd's smaller potatoes type roles worked well for two reasons. One, the size of the parts weren't that demanding for someone who wasn't trained in acting, and two, they were mostly comedic, and even if he was playing himself, he was playing an exaggerated version of a character, so it looked like he wasn't taking things all that seriously. But it's clear that The Weeknd wanted to be taken more seriously beyond his music, and the first major indicator of that was his involvement in an HBO show called The Idol, which came out in 2023. We've covered this show on the channel before, but everything about it was a total shit show, largely because Abel, who starred in the series as Tedros, a seedy nightclub owner turned cult leader, teamed up with notorious industry pervert hack Sam Levinson late into the project's development to give the whole show this dark, edgy, fucked up kind of vibe. The result was a disjointed, uninteresting mess where Tedros, an objectively bad guy TM, is portrayed as this mysterious, creative, magnetic force who inexplicably becomes the muse for Lily Rose Depp's character Jocelyn, a former pop star trying to make a comeback after a mental breakdown that drove her away from the spotlight. Obviously, The Idol did not go well, considering that it did not get renewed for any additional seasons, and Abel took the majority of the criticism for how the whole project turned out, especially because of a Variety report that claimed that The Weeknd brought Levinson onto the project because he felt as though the show was leaning too much into the female perspective. The Weeknd recently opened up about the aftermath of The Idol during the press interviews for a new project that we'll talk about in a moment, in which he described the experience as hell, said there were too many cooks in the kitchen, and that he had a mental breakdown while filming the show, dealing with all of the backlash and embarking on a major stadium tour. So after all of this, surely...
Even that, like, he made music. Bro makes music. He jumps into, doing acting and stuff. He's not good at it. Who expected him to be? Nigga, you can't be good at everything. Let it go. Stop trying to act, gang. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, this brings him into a place where he is no longer mysterious. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain mysteriousness that comes with The Weeknd, and him being too much in the public, I feel like, is a negative for him. Especially also like acting, and not to say that he's acting like himself or anything, because it's not him, but for him to have bad acting skills and it's just like cringy acting, it makes you feel like he's not like cool, and being cool is a whole part of his power. That's why his music hit so hard.
Abel learned. The fucking siren, I'm gonna... So surely after all of this, Abel perhaps learned that music was the more relevant creative outlet for him, at least at this point in time, right? Who's to say that that can't change down the line if he learns more about film and acting and studies the craft and understands what makes a compelling character and story structure? Like, maybe he should just take the time to learn all of that before he jumps into the next television or film project, right? Like, that's a logical step to make, right? Right?
I have a feeling that we're going to get to know a little bit more of the real Abel in this.
I don't know. I mean, well, it's a piece of everybody. I was saying earlier that it's one giant therapy session. So even though it's loosely based on something that's happened, everybody brought their own story to it. Trey, it's his story. Jenna brought herself to it. Barry brought himself to it. So it feels like it's all of ours.
Hurry Up Tomorrow just released in theaters this, wait for it, weekend, and it really is something. The film, clocking in at an hour and 45 minutes long, stars Barry Keoghan, Jenna Ortega, and of course Abel, who is playing a fictionalized version of himself. Keoghan plays his longtime manager Lee, and Ortega plays an obsessed fangirl turned quasi-love interest and also his metaphorical conscience, but we'll get into that later. The film serves as a companion piece to The Weeknd's latest album, also called Hurry Up Tomorrow. It was directed by Trey Edward Schultz, and I am so surprised that this thing even got a theatrical release to begin with because, well, it's kind of not a real movie. Okay, spoilers for Hurry Up Tomorrow. You are getting spoilers in 3, 2, 1. The plot revolves around Jenna Ortega's character Ani, who burns her childhood home down and flees to California to attend The Weeknd's concert. Meanwhile, The Weeknd is going through a terrible no-good breakup after his partner leaves him and sends him a voicemail in which she explains that he's a terrible person and that his mom would not be proud of him for the way that he treated her. The stress of this breakup is causing The Weeknd to be unable to sing or even function, but after encouragement from Lee, he tries to go on with his latest tour performance anyway. He basically has a breakdown on stage, and during that breakdown he makes eye contact with Ani, who then sneaks backstage to see him. The two run away and play some carnival games, and then they go to a hotel and have sex. The next morning, Abel tells Ani that he's not bringing her along on tour anymore, and she starts arguing with him, and that's where we get this brilliant scene that's going viral on social media right now.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I have to go right now. I'm getting calls. I have to catch a flight. I'm on a tour. I'm trying to be fucking nice. You see I'm trying to be nice right now, right? You're forcing me to be bad, but I'm actually doing a good thing. All right? So just chill the fuck out, and I gotta go.
You gotta be rich to hit one of these, and Shorty just shut the you shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And you just go on a little tangent, and Shorty just really shut the fuck up. You gotta be a certain level of P to pull that off. It didn't seem like good acting, but that's probably like literally how he acts, like in person. That's what I perceive from that. Like that's literally probably how he talks, acts, moves. So I can definitely see how that could just be him.
And then she knocks him out and ties him to the bed a la Kathy Bates in Misery, but worse. Then we get this Silent Hill-esque sequence where The Weeknd is walking through these empty catacombs and there's a girl screaming at him, and then he wakes up to see that Ani has held him hostage, only agreeing to let him go if he decides to be, quote, honest with himself. What does that entail, you ask? Well, she then proceeds to play 3 of his songs, Blinding Lights included, and dances along to them while she gives a Wikipedia note summary of how deep they are and what each of them mean, proceeding to psychoanalyze him and chastise him for the ending of his relationship and uncover why the relationship ultimately failed. According to Ani, he still isn't being honest after all of this, and so she covers him in gasoline the way she did to her house and holds a lit match over his tied-up body. Eventually, he begins to sing a song that he played for her earlier in the film, and she lets him go and burns down the hotel room. This scene of him singing goes on for a really long time. You know that scene in Euphoria, funny enough, when Dominic Fike is like singing that song and it kind of goes on for like a ridiculously long time. It's very much that kind of vibe. Oh, and she also kills Barry Keoghan after he attempts to rescue The Weeknd from captivity, which is crazy. Then at the end, we see him getting ready for another show, and that is the film. So the interesting thing about this whole situation is that, this is not a movie. I mean, I'm reviewing it as a movie because it was fully released as one, but I do not understand how this was released theatrically when it could have easily just been a dedicated visual album. The Weeknd doesn't even sing that much in it, but a series of connected music videos would have been a lot more coherent than whatever this was. And the minimal defense that I've seen of this film so far is that Jenna Ortega's character isn't real. She's just a metaphor for The Weeknd's inner self-talk and dialogue, which, yes, of course she is, because her character literally is not a character. That doesn't make it a compelling or interesting or completely told story just because her character may not be real. I also do want to talk about the...
She probably didn't even want to be... Like, she probably accepted, like, the movie role, and then after she accepted it, she was like, what the fuck is this? Because it doesn't sound coherent at all. Like, it doesn't really sound like there's a plot, you know. You get to see a day of someone's life, and that's it's just a crazy day, I guess, but it's pretty fucking odd.
Direction of this film really quick, because I don't think all of the blame falls on Abel here. Trey Edward Schultz directed this movie, and he also co-wrote it, I believe. And one of the things that's getting referenced in a lot of these memes, and it's just so distracting that I have to point it out, is this spin camera effect, especially during a lot of the nightclub scenes. A lot of times the camera will just randomly just sort of do this spinny rotating effect, and it's cool like the first time, and then it happens a lot more times. I just think this is one of those movies that, that relies more on aesthetics than anything else. Like, that's what's supposed to be driving the emotion here, and not the actual performances or characterization. I see The Weeknd as a person who has a lot of inner turmoil, clearly is not at peace with some of the stuff that he's done in his life, and is trying to express that through his art in a really personal way. This is indicated by the fact that he's playing himself, but I don't get why he doesn't just stick to telling that story through his music, which in some ways can be a more personal art form if you're assuming that the singer is the one true reliable narrator of it all. I assume the need to hash out these feelings on screen instead of through song is just one of vanity at this point, especially...
Yeah, if he would have hired a great actor to play him, and the actor, like, just did amazing, it would have hit so much harder. And if he kind of took it off himself a little bit, he wanted a movie about himself. Yeah, like she's saying, this is all vanity. But if you would have just made a great fucking movie and then had somebody else play you, or play somebody that was similar to you, didn't have to actually be you, bro, you could have started making movies. You could have started doing all type of shit. Like, you would have been the one. But like I said, can't be good at everything, ganger. Let this one go, bro. Keep the music, gang. You know what I'm saying? Like, you good. You can make bangers, nigga. Keep making bangers.
Especially because the imagery here is so similar to The Idol. These flashy nightclub sequences, a young, impressionable girl that's obsessed with his pain, and even when he's crying or vulnerable or scared, there's an air of impenetrable masculinity about him. He's always got to look cool, be the hero. He can't actually let anyone in, which is sort of, the only way to get people to root for your character in a movie. Unless, you just stand there and say popular catchphrases from a video game in front of a green screen. Ultimately, what this whole series of events proves to me is that The Weeknd is genuinely very good at what he does, but he wants more credit than that. Maybe it stems from the fact that he began releasing music anonymously at the beginning of his career, but I look at the creative vision for all of his albums up until this point, and they make sense.
I didn't know he did that.
I look at his visual stunts, like his plastic surgery prosthetics and his music video for Save Your Tears, and I go, wow, that choice is visually striking, but I don't care to know the
Yeah, he's always done, like, super obscure shit. Like, he probably had, like, a great idea behind this, but I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, you just look fucking insane, which, isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't need to know what it means. It just looks insane, and, I like the song, so I don't even care. But you could have did this with your regular face. It would have hit just as hard. But I guess it's like, oh, he's trying to be different. Cool. But for a movie, gang, I mean, it kind of needs to make sense. Like, even if it's like people need to come up with ideas in their head to make it make sense, like, it still needs to make sense, honestly. And I did not know that he started, when The Weeknd started putting out music, he did it anonymously. That's kind of dope.
Meaning of it beyond the music.
Cinema's always for me, it's always kind of been my number one passion. And then, I happened to sing and make music, and kind of felt like a little detour that, a little cheat code to kind of get into this. And I always wanted to make movies.
The Weeknd is sort of suffering from his...
Nigga, what? Nigga, what? Yeah, movies have always really been my thing, but I just kind of did this music thing. I fuck with it, whatever. I just only did it for the last 10 years, 15 years. But movies is my real passion. I just made music for the last 15 years in order to get to making movies. Nigga just he just shitted on all of us. That's it, bro. Nigga shitted on all of us. He said I became one of the biggest artists in the world just so I could make movies and shit. Cause that's my real goal. Nigga, what? Nigga just accidentally became one of the biggest artists in the world? Like, I just did this music thing. Nigga, what? You think you better than me, nigga? You think you better than me? Nigga just said he accidentally became a fucking pop star.
His own success. He makes catchy club bangers, but none of them are flawed or interesting enough for people to really care about whatever persona he's cooked up for his latest release. It was a wise poet who once said, "Y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance." So let's talk about the reception. Obviously, I played a couple social media videos of people clowning on this movie. In terms of the actual reception, in my theater, there were a lot of giggles, especially during these serious moments. People couldn't help but laugh at Jenna Ortega and also at The Weeknd and his acting. So I think tonally it was a bit of a miss based on what they seem to have been going for. Several people also got up and walked out and did not come back. I took note of the ones that did come back and which ones didn't. And then on the way out, some guys handed me an iPad and asked me how I felt about the movie, and I told them. Now, is all of this enough to do damage to The Weeknd's reputation and career permanently?
Hell no.
I don't think so, and truly that's never what this series has been about.
Cause The Weeknd drop another song, I'm saying that bitch. I don't care. Nigga could drop 15 movies in a row. I don't give a shit. 15 flops too. Them shit suck. Worst movies I've ever seen in my life. When that nigga drop a song though, I'm bumping that shit. And that's just is what it is. Nigga, keep dropping movies, man. I don't even care, bruh. I don't even care, bro. Keep dropping movies, bro. Do your big one, but don't stop making the music. Cause we need that, gang. We need that. You know what I'm saying? Hurry up and drop some new shit. I need a re-up right now, actually. Come on.
About anyway. But in all of the celebrities that I cover on the show, they always seem to have one thing that's really important to their brand, and whether or not they're currently obtaining that thing seems to be the mark of their success and whether or not the internet is quote-unquote in love or out of love with them. Jack Black's brand is his authenticity and his loyalty, which people questioned after throwing his bandmate Kyle Gass under the bus for a Trump assassination joke. Grimes' brand was her offbeat quirkiness shining through her genuine musical talent that got tarnished by the fact that she slept with the apartheid Emeralds guy. The Rock simply wanted to be adored until he got addicted to manufacturing his own success to the point where you can't tell what's real and what's not anymore.
Jeez.
And The Weeknd, well, he just wants to be taken seriously. In his art, in his persona, in his humanity, all of it. And now, after not one...
The Weeknd gets taken seriously for music. If you want niggas to take you seriously in making movies, gang, niggas just want it all. Y'all want it all, bro. Y'all want it all, bro. Like, if 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now, The Weeknd didn't want to make music anymore, and he's like, I want to get into making movies. He's rich as shit, and he's like, I'm going to lock in on movies and only do movies, and I'm going to actually perfect my craft. I'm going to make short movies, post it on YouTube or some shit, and it'll go dumb. It'll go dumb every single time. And then slowly perfect his craft. It seems like he just kind of jumped into, 2 roles back to back without necessarily taking the time he needs to perfect the craft. And then, do you want to make movies or do you want to be an actor? You have to, you can do both, but niggas dedicate their whole life to doing that shit. And you just decide to do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Will Smith is an amazing actor, but he literally dedicated his life to being an actor. You have to dedicate your life to that shit, bro. You got to become a professional at it. You're a professional at making music, but I don't think you got the 10,000 hours in movie movie making and acting and shit, maybe you do. And maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I don't believe in you, Abel. You know what? Keep doing your big one, bro. Keep doing your thing, bro.
But 2 failed attempts of doing this outside of his music, it's his worst nightmare. He's getting clowned on for being pretentious and goofy. And even if you're still releasing great music through all of that and selling out shows and getting high praise from your dedicated fan base, sometimes that's just not enough. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I know I haven't done a How the Internet video in quite a while, but I'm
This is a pretty good vid. I feel like she really went into detail. It sounds like she really like enjoys, what she does. And what was her name again? I think it was Kayla Says, is it? Yep, Kayla Says. Yeah, this video is pretty fire. Y'all go check her out. But anyway, man. Yeah, I feel like The Weeknd is good. I feel like it don't matter how many bad movies this nigga drop. He drop a banger, we gonna listen to it every single time. And I feel like people take him seriously. But, like, looking at him or seeing him talk in, like, interviews and stuff, he's not that cool. He's not that cool of a guy, I'm not gonna lie. And in his music, it feels like he's such a cool guy. And then, he starts talking, and it's just like, I don't think he's that cool anymore. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what's killing it with the movies. We expect him to be so fucking cool. But he's just himself, and he makes good fucking music. And we have to learn to accept him. But that comes with him not really being a personality. I never known The Weeknd as a personality. Like, even with Drake, I'll see Drake post videos of him talking. He's making jokes and all this. Like, he's showing his personality. I feel like The Weeknd never really did that much. So maybe that's the problem. But maybe he's trying to make that switch. And this would be the time for him to become a personality. If he can drop a, good movie or show. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments if you guys like the movie. If you guys would go watch more The Weeknd movies. And also, make sure you guys go to my channel, binge watch my other videos. I feel like I have a good selection choice of videos that I'll be picking. So if y'all like, the type of videos I like, then, we'll be sure to get along great. You know what I mean? But anyway, I love you guys. Peace. Catch you on the next one.